Hi, I'm Lisa Thibodeau, and welcome to this week's installment of Thib Talk. Please feel free to share this video if you think that any of it is valuable to someone that you know. I truly appreciate it, and I would love it if you would tell me hello, tell me where you're from, tell me what you're doing on this gorgeous Tuesday, and anything that you want to tell me. If you just tell me hi, I would appreciate that as well. Today I want to talk about good and evil. In today's society, we think that things are so terrible, that it's the worst it's ever been. But sometimes I feel like it's the media and Hollywood and just the powers that be that try to make us think that the world is bad, when I don't see that. I don't see that it's any worse than it's been at any other time. I just think that the problem is technology has allowed us to see the evil, and that is what people report. That is what people video. That is what they want to talk about. I had a friend who said, wow, all of the people helping during hurricanes Harvey and Irma, I wish it was like that all the time. And I commented that I really feel that it is like that, that people are good, that there's good happening all around us every day. It's just not on the news unless it's in response to a disaster, because they want to show the terrible parts of the world. When I taught 8th grade English, one of the books that we read was The Diary of Anne Frank. And if you don't know the story, she was a teenager who was a Jew during the Holocaust time and had to hide out with her family, and she kept a diary. And so it's just her thoughts. Now, think about how terrible it was back then to be a Jewish person who they were killing and putting in concentration camps, and you had to hide. And yet in her diary, one of the things she writes, it's one of my favorite quotes, is, in spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. Isn't that amazing? And I believe that too. I feel like I have to believe that to get through the day. I was able to actually go to the Secret Annex in Amsterdam, and they have turned it into a museum, the Anne Frank Museum, and I was able to see all of these just horrific images and terrible things that happened during the Holocaust. And I was able to also tour Dachau concentration camp, and yet as I was going through the Anne Frank Museum, on the very last wall was that quote about, despite everything, she still feels people are good at heart. Another quote that she said is, I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains. And I think that a lot of times that's the problem. We focus on the negative, or we talk about the negative, and we forget to broadcast, to celebrate, to talk about and discuss our positives and our blessings and what good is happening in the world. Sometimes maybe people feel like it's boasting to say that something good happened. We really need to start sharing more of the good. You know, I'm on vacation in Destin, Florida right now, and I have met so many wonderful people from all over the world. All of them talking to me, being friendly, having a great time. I'm on the beach watching families with their kids. We just don't see that on the news. A lot of times they just want to talk about the evil. But we have to know that there have been terrible times all throughout history. Besides the Holocaust, we've had 2 world wars. We had plagues and Black Death and the AIDS epidemic, terrorism that's still going on. During the 60s, when they had all the uprisings and draft dodgers, and we've always had terrible times in history. But again, that's what's reported. It's not about neighbors helping neighbors, or people, helping other people all of the time, paying it forward, paying for someone's drink at Starbucks. Just people help each other all the time. It's just not the news. But I think it's time for us to make it the news. I think it's time for us to take back the world and show what good there is in it. You may have heard this quote before by Mr. Rogers of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, if you're old enough to remember Mr. Rogers. But he said that one of the things that his mother told him when he would get afraid and be scared by some of the terrible things happening in the world, she would tell him to look for the helpers, that there were always people helping. And that is the truth. Some of the people that we know that lost everything in Hurricane Harvey, they have talked to me over and over about how the outpouring of love and help and support, not only from friends, but from actual strangers that have donated and sent prayers and helped in any way that they can. And the reason we know this is because of it was tied to a disaster. But guys, this happens every day. People are basically good inside. We need to be the helpers, and we need to see the helpers. There is so much good in the world. There is so much good in people. And if you don't see it, be it. Can I say that again? If you look around and you don't see good in the world, then it's your responsibility to be the good in the world. It's up to us to be it, to recognize it, to celebrate it, to spread it. No matter how bad things get, there's always good. One of the most ironic things in the world is that from evil comes good. Now, I taught British literature, and so if you've ever read John Milton's Paradise Lost, one of the things he talks about is that God banishes Satan from heaven, and he could have destroyed him, but he doesn't. You know why? He uses him for good. He uses the devil. He uses Satan to tempt us so we can take evil and we can turn it into good. In Romans 12:21, this quote says, "Do not overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." And that is what we have to do. Research says that we are programmed to be able to see the difference between good and evil. We know it. You know you do. You know that if you've done something wrong, you feel it inside. It bothers you. You know when you're doing something right, and you know when you're doing something wrong. It's what we try to teach our children. It's what teachers try to teach in school. We need to be able to see the good and be the good. And we need to recognize that when anything bad happens, there's going to be some good in it. There's going to be a lesson. There's going to be something that you will see through it, that you will recognize that there was good in it. So as I leave tonight, I just want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to see the good, be the good, and to tell everybody. Shout it from the rooftops. Pretend it is the worst disaster in history that someone wants to report, but report about anything that you see that's good. When you see someone helping, let's put that on Facebook. Wow, I saw somebody helping a puppy find a new home. Whatever it is, let's be the good in the world. Because there is so much good, and when all we do is concentrate on the evil, it makes us unhappy. And I've told you this before. Why would you choose to be unhappy? It's important to be happy. I hope all of you have enjoyed this Thib Talk tonight. I know it's a little shorter one, but I'm about to lose my light here. And the basic message is just to be the good, celebrate the good, and know that out of every evil, we can make good from it. Thank you, and I'd love if you'd share this if you think it's valuable, and comment replay if you watch the replay. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.